So this is a question, Alka Hotel. This is on a CVP analysis question, CRQ. So we're going to be solving this question right now. So let's have a look at the question. Uh, this is using current annual budget figures and ignoring two proposed projects, a margin of safety, number of rooms occupied. So we know this is a CRQ question. So let's have a look. So the Alka Hotel is situated in a major city close to many theaters and restaurants. The Alka Hotel has 25 bedrooms, and so it charges $180 per room per night, regardless of single or double occupancy. The hotel's variable cost is $60 per occupied room per night. The Alka Hotel is open for 365 days a year and has a 70% budgeted occupancy rate. Fixed costs are budgeted at 600,000 a year and accrue evenly throughout the year. So whatever the fixed cost is over the 12 month or over the 4 quarter period, it accrues evenly. During the first quarter of the year, the room occupancy rates are significantly below the levels expected at other times of the year, with Alka Hotel expected to sell 900 occupied room nights during quarter 1. Options to improve profitability are being considered, including closing the hotel for the duration of quarter 1 or adopting one of two possible projects as follows. So because in quarter 1 the room occupancy rate is very low, they're thinking of doing one of the two projects. So project 1 is basically only Alka Hotel management would offer guests a theater package. Couples who pay for 2 consecutive nights at a special rate of $67.5 per room night will also receive a pair of theater tickets for a payment of $100. The theater tickets are very good value and the results of long-term negotiation between Alka Hotel management and the local theater. The theater tickets cost the Alka Hotel $95 a pair. The Alka Hotel's fixed costs specific to this project, that's marketing and administration, are budgeted at $20,000. The hotel's management believes that the theater package will have no effect on their usual quarter 1 customers. So usually these 900 people who basically occupy the rooms, or these 900 rooms which are usually occupied in quarter 1, that will not be affected by this project 1 theater package. That would be there. This could perhaps add new customers. All right, so that's a clear understanding. Who are all business travelers and who have no interest in theater tickets but will still receive, which will still require the usual rooms. And over for a restaurant 2, this is a diagram with all the things. So let's look at the first requirement. Using the current annual budgeted figures and ignoring the two proposed projects, calculate the break-even number of occupied room nights and the margin of safety as a percentage. So always look at the question very carefully. They're talking about annual budgeted figures without the two projects. Okay, for break-even number of occupied room nights and margin of safety as a percentage. So we will first deal with this. So let's call this A. First things first, in order for me to break even number of rooms occupied, what do I need? I need my fixed cost divided by my contribution per room. Okay. So let's do this step by step. For contribution, I need my sales price. So sales price for each room is $180. Remember, don't take this one because this is a package. This is a project 1. They're saying we have to ignore these packages and go for what? This calculation based on our annual budget. So sales price is 180. Variable cost is $60 as it's already given. So my contribution is sum of these two. Okay. So I get $120 contribution for each room occupied. Okay. So what is my entire fixed cost for the year? My entire fixed cost for the year is 600,000. So annual fixed cost 600,000. So basically break even occupancy, or let's just call it occupancy to break even. If we are to cover, that's my fixed cost divided by my contribution. So we basically need 5,000 rooms to be occupied in order for me to break even in a year based on the current circumstances. Please remember, we haven't, they have simply asked us for the entire year. So that is why we are not taking into consideration what happens in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. We're just taking the entire thing. These are obviously per night. Of course, these are all per occupancy night. This is per year. Let's call it per annum. So in a year, we need 5,000 nights to be occupied to break even. And this is in dollars. So let's go to the second part of the question. They're asking for margin of safety. So we know our break-even number of rooms. So what is my budgeted occupancy? How much do I expect in my entire year? How many rooms do we expect to be occupied? If you look at this, we have in total of 25 rooms, right? And they're open for 365 days, right? But out of this, we only expect 70% to be occupied. So into 0.7. This is my budgeted occupancy. So now let's look at the margin of safety. How do we calculate the margin of safety? It's very simply my budgeted occupancy minus my break-even occupancy divided by my budgeted occupancy. So margin of safety is this, but of course we need to do this in terms of percent. So let's multiply this with 100. It's 21.72%. There we go. So that's answer to question number A, basically asking for break-even number of rooms and the margin of safety. Okay. Now, let's go on to option B, requirement B. Ignoring the two proposed projects, calculate the budgeted profit or loss for quarter one and explain whether the hotel should close for the duration of quarter one. So what they're simply asking for, always read the question very carefully. Ignore the two products. So we don't need these two things. Okay. Budgeted profit or loss for quarter one. And we need to explain whether the hotel should close for the duration of quarter one. So let's put in B. Let's call this profit statement. For quarter one. All right. So what do we know? It's my sales. We will not need hold on this. Or we could less my variable cost. I will have my contribution I will have my fixed cost, and in the end I'm gonna obviously have my profit slash loss. For quarter one, it is expected that 900 occupied room nights would be sold. Okay, so that's about 900 into 180 per night. And we have the variable cost, that's going to be 900 into the variable cost is $60. So keep this as a minus figure. So we will have our contribution, which is sum of these two. Okay, and then we're going to have our fixed cost. So for the year, my entire fixed cost is 600,000, and so in quarter one, that's only one quarter, so that's 600,000 divided by 4. Of course, this should be a negative figure, right? So the answer over here is what's going to happen in quarter one. Add these two things up. In quarter one, we're going to have a loss of 42,000. All right. This is dollars. Now, so since we're having a loss of 42,000 in quarter one, should we keep Alka Hotel closed for quarter one? Now, look at first of all in the short term. In the short term, if we choose to keep this closed, and that means that won't be there, that won't be there, that won't be there, but we'll still bear the fixed cost. So if we keep it closed, we will be basically suffering a loss of 150,000. But if we keep it open, that means we are making a contribution of this, so our loss is less. So short term. If Alka Hotel remains open, makes a loss of $42,000. However, if Alka Hotel was to remain closed during this period, Alka Hotel would not be generating contribution of how much? Contribution of $108,000, but still bear the fixed cost. $150,000. So we can just simply say that is anticipated loss. So that's one aspect of it. In the short run, if we financially look at it, that financially it's more viable to keep it open. How about non-financial issues? Moreover, keeping, so one thing, as a hotel, if you're like closed during one part of the year, then your regular customers might not come, right? So that's another aspect. Moreover, keeping a hotel closed may mean loss of regular customers as they may look elsewhere for accommodation. Also, it may hamper. Of course, if you keep your hotel closed, since it's a service industry and it should remain open throughout the year, if you keep it closed, it also affects your goodwill of Alka hotels. So, Alka Hotel should remain open, should remain open in quarter. So that's basically what we write. Let's have a closer look at this. So the short term, if Alka Hotel remains open, it would make a loss of 42,000. However, if Alka Hotel was to remain closed during this period, Alka would not be generating a contribution of 108,000, but still bear the fixed cost of 150,000. That is, make a greater loss. Moreover, keeping the hotel closed may mean loss of regular customers as they may look elsewhere for accommodation. Also, it may hamper the goodwill of Alka Hotels. So Alka Hotel should remain open in quarter one. So that should be 2 marks over here, 2 marks very easily over here, and that should get you off the line. All right. Let's go to part C. This one is tricky. So part C basically talks about calculate the break-even point in sales value of project one and explain whether the hotel should adopt the project. Remember, if it's in a question, if they give you a calculation and then ask for an explanation, more often than not, this explanation relates to what you have calculated previously. All right. Remember that they've asked you a calculation and then asked for something to be explained. More often than not, this explanation somehow relates to the calculation. So that's a trick that you should keep at the back of your head. So they're asking for the break-even point in sales value of project one. So let's go back. So what happens in project one? So for quarter one, only Alka Hotel management would offer guests a theater package. So people who are paying for 2 consecutive nights get a rate of $67.5 per room night. I also receive a pair of theater tickets for a payment of $100. The theater tickets are very good value and the result of long-term negotiation and the local theater. The theater tickets cost Alka Hotel $95 a pair. And over here, right. So, so let's get straight into it. So they're asking for the break-even point in sales value for project one. So once again, for break-even, we need two things. We need the contribution that this room that this project is going to get us, and then we're gonna look at the fixed cost. So the first thing over here is, if you look at this line, and I keep saying that this line was very important, that the theater price will have no impact on their usual quarter one customers. Okay. The second thing is they're specifically talking about this project, so we do not need to bring in anything else. Okay, I'll show you how this is done. So let's look at this. Let's look at the sales figure, right? Let's just, yeah. So in terms of sales, how do we calculate the sales? So that's uh, one of the revenue is two room nights, each 67.5. So that's about 2 into 67.5. All right. Plus, they will also receive a theater ticket for a payment of 100. So assuming that all of them buy the tickets, so that's about 100. So my sales revenue, or we can say incremental sales revenue, is 235. How about the cost? So incremental variable cost. If you remember, if no other information is given, so two room nights, each room night it's gonna be costing me $60, right? And this is obviously a minus figure because it's a cost. Also, there's another cost that will be added, and that is theater tickets also cost $95. This cost should be added. So that's my variable cost. So contribution from each room through package one for every two night, incremental contribution that we're going to be making, going to be the sum of these two. See, look at this. The entire uh, project or package or whatever it is that you want to call it. These basically have to do with two room nights. So you need to consider that, right? We get an incremental contribution of $20. And our fixed cost, incremental fixed cost that would be due to this project is 20,000. So break even occupancy is going to be fixed cost divided by 10. Why 10? Because remember, for every 2 days, 2 days occupancy, if you're going to be making $20 contribution, so that means each day we are making a contribution of $10. So that's right here. So we'll need 2,000 nights to be occupied. So what we can do is, let's bring that here. Let's put that there as well. So contribution per night should be, just take this off just to be safe. This, yeah, okay. So to break even we need 2,000 occupancies, right? So how do we say whether this is valid or not? So let's see that actually can is the hotel will the hotel actually can it break even if we assume that every all these 2000 nights is going to be occupied. So total rooms available. How many rooms do we have available for quarter one? If you guys remember, it's going to be 365 days. There's going to be 25 rooms, right? This is my entire occupancy possibility. And of course, for one quarter, it should be divided by 4. So we'll have a total of 22.825 rooms available. Okay. Rooms already booked. So these are entirely what is available. By default, as you guys know, this is very, very important that this theater package will not affect our quarter one customers. So this quarter one customers who don't need the theater package, they will still require the usual rooms. So in quarter one, they usually occupy 900 rooms. So we need to mention that. Okay. Rooms booked, let's just call it that. 900. Okay. So what is my rooms available? Available for project one. So that should be this minus this 1381. So if you look at this, in order for us to just break even, we need 2000 room nights. But if we calculate everything, we just have 13,081 rooms available. If we just, since these are rooms, bring this down. Yeah. So if only 1381 rooms are available, so there is not sufficient rooms available for this project to even break even. So for project one to break even, two thousand room nights needs to be occupied. In quarter one. However, only 1381 rooms are available, which means, what does it mean? Which means that Alka Hotels will not break even with project one due to shortfall of rooms. Due to shortfall of room nights. So it is better that Alka Hotels do not implement project, because if we adopt project one and if we only take the costs and the fixed costs and the variable costs and the revenue only related to project one, we will need 2000 rooms. We'll need 2000 rooms to break even. Okay. But in total we have 2,281 rooms, and out of which 900 would be automatically booked, and these people do not need these packages and things like that. They would be by default booked. We have only 1,381 rooms available, which is not sufficient for this project to even break even, so it is not worthwhile. All right, so that's that. I do hope you understood how to go about this question. Till next session, take care and stay safe.